Hey, and welcome to Middle Ground Books After Hours.
My name's Megan.
I'm Deborah.
And I'm Lance. And this week we are getting ready to celebrate Winnie the Pooh's birthday on January 18th, which will be the Sunday after you are hearing this lovely little broadcast. So we have been reading A.A. Milne this week. It is A.A. Milne's birthday. And we'll talk about a number of books from A.A. Milne and probably read some little snippets from that, just on the in case. Maybe you haven't heard any of the Pooh stories or A.A. Milne's work in a little while.
I feel like a lot of people are familiar with the Disney version, the Americanized version. I never read these growing up.
The imitation Unreal Pooh.
Yes. So...
It's like the Miracle Whip.
Yeah. It's true, though.
It's like
I
the
didn't know what I was missing.
heresy. It's the heresy version of Pooh. It's like what everyone believes Pooh is without really knowing the true Pooh.
Yeah. So I didn't grow up with the original stuff. Like, I was familiar with the Disney stuff, and so I was kind of like, oh, whatever. But I think it really wasn't until I knew you guys that you introduced me to the actual Winnie the Pooh. And it's awesome.
I don't think as a child that I had actual Winnie the Pooh. What I do know that I had was an LP record version of And Now We Are Six. And so I remember reciting to myself, I think I got it as a gift on my 6th birthday. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that makes sense. I know we have people who do really love Winnie the Pooh that have come in the store, and we have had Winnie the Pooh items in the store, like gift items, as well as the books. We sell the books all the time, and he's very beloved.
We have special things in the store right now in preparation for A.A. Milne's birthday, so come and check it out. If you're there on, what day are we celebrating, sir?
It is on the 18th.
And
January.
What will happen if they come in on that day?
15% off of Winnie the Pooh books and A.A. Milne books. There's actually a really good biography of A.A. Milne, and I have to bring it up.
It's not only the books, though. It's all the other
gift items,
Pooh merch that we've been
talking about. Plushies and, earrings even.
Coffee cups, wallets, all kinds of Pooh-themed items.
I think even some stationery.
Come get your Pooh.
Don't you know what "they're" mean?
So, and also, Somewhere a Boy and a Bear by Giles Brandreth. I've been listening to it on audiobook, and it's really a fairly fabulous treatment. Can't recommend it enough. But before we get into the discussion of Winnie the Pooh and A.A. Milne, we've got a lot going on this month. So first of all, story times. I won't mention her name, but one of our dear customers was very excited to come to more story times. So Debbie, what's going on with story times?
We'll be having family story time at 10:30 every Saturday morning going forward. If there's a Saturday morning when it is not happening, we'll be sure to post that on our social media and on our other calendars. Like, for instance, if I am attending a grandchild's birthday somewhere not in Emporia and I'm not here on a Saturday, but assuming that I am in Emporia on Saturday, there will be story time. We'll let you know when it's not. And it's open to families from 0 to 5. So if you have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, bring them both. If you have a 6-month-old and a 4-year-old, come on down. If you've got more than 2 children, it might be good to bring an extra adult along, because part of the goal will be to help families to play and interact and have fun together related to a storybook. So it'll probably be about 20 to 30 minutes, depends on how many people there, how many turns you have to take with various instruments and things like that. But I'm sure on said day for celebration of Winnie the Pooh, I will in some way be reading some A.A. Milne.
And then we've got a bunch of silly holidays. We found the website where you have silly holidays.
Yeah, there's a national day of
what do you mean?
Anything you can think of.
I am not silly. Everyone knows that I am not silly.
Appreciating a dragon is a great thing to do.
That's not silly. That's serious. Like, if there were an actual dragon, you better appreciate him, or you might be in trouble.
He'll be a snack.
See The Hobbit?
So January 16th, all day long, 15% off dragon books and merch, and also we have...
That's a Friday, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And then Kiss a Shark Week.
Yeah, that's a little interesting.
The dragon doesn't get a day.
The dragon gets a day.
Yeah, I feel like the dragons need more respect.
I feel like there's some bigotry against imaginary creatures.
Well, maybe it's... I was just going to say, maybe it's because there are far more frequent shark sightings than dragon sightings these days. So that's why they're giving them more respect.
Yeah, and we have a plush shark so that you can appreciate our plush shark.
Kiss the shark,
So,
in fact.
yes, kiss a shark. Yes, and
If you're not afraid of germs.
yes. Well, I think we're gonna like antisepticize. Like we're gonna disinfect the shark, and we're gonna encourage people to be respectfully affectionate.
Nobody disinfects the Blarney stone, and people have been kissing it for years.
Well, it's not a Blarney shark,
I think it is Blarney shark.
I don't know what you guys are
but that's
talking about.
27th to 30th, and we're gonna have free stickers and shark themed like refreshments probably. And
We need to order said shark stickers, or have you?
no, they're already
Amazing.
on the way.
They're
Giant plush
en
shark,
route.
giant plush dragon, and the big thing I'm excited about. So the girls are doing book clubs in the store. Like Debbie's gonna do a mysterious mystery. I feel like we need some spooky sound effects. There's some
Door
mysterious.
creaking.
Yeah, and Megan,
Dun, dun, dun.
Megan's doing a fantastical fantasy book club. Like I feel like we need
Fantasy
wind
/
chimes.
paranormal. the
Spooky
members of said clubs will help determine
Yeah,
what
I
we're going to be
think-
reading. So
Yeah, our first meetings are like going to be just to gauge interest, and talk about potential book club picks. I have a few in mind for mine. I don't know if you do, Debbie.
I mean, I've been reading and listening to some mysteries lately, but again, it will depend on the interests of customers and friends who want to join the said club. So
Well, and I'm doing the pretentious book club because somebody, I won't say any names. I kind of want to, but I'm not going to. Wanted like a pretentious where we read like,
classics,
like Pindar,
mythology.
Philosophy.
Pindar and, Leibniz. And but we, this month we're doing Beer and Beowulf instead on January 31st. So hopefully if you're in town, come join us. That's going to be at 4:00 on a Saturday. But let's get into our discussion. Let's actually talk about what we've been reading lately.
Okay, so I've been listening to a new audiobook. So it's my first book of the year. And I think I said in the last one that I want to try to read more variety and not just fantasy. Though if I'm doing a book club that's fantasy based, I'm going to have to still continue to read fantasy, which is fine by me.
You would have done so anyway.
It's true. But I started off, I tried to stick with what I said I was going to do. And my first book is not a fantasy book.
Good for you.
It is called The Bookbinder's Secret by, I think it's A.D. Bell. Yeah. And so it's a historical fiction and kind of a mystery as well. And it's got lots of book nerd things in it, of course, about bookbinding. Like there are things I don't do bookbinding. I'm interested in it. But yeah, there's a lot of terminology they use and I'm like, okay, I think I know what that is, what that means. And then I have to look up, basically like with what the tools they're using or the materials they're using. And it's also set in a historical time period too. So like they're like restoring and rebinding books by hand.
So it's a work of fiction, but you're learning about actual things about the bookbinding trade, which is cool.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I enjoy, well, I was going to say historical fiction, but I believe it's true. Any fiction book, you can learn things about true things, factual things, if the author has done a good job.
They did their research.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been good so far. I'm not very far into it, but yeah. So the protagonist, she's an apprentice to a bookbinder, and there's a client who she's meeting with and has a book that they want her to rebind as a gift. But then there's another book that it was like one that came in a shipment with other like antique books or something, I guess. And it was like burned and kind of ruined. And they're like, you can just have that. And so she's like, okay. And so she's looking at it and inspecting it and examining it and finds, as she's kind of taking it apart, because it's kind of falling apart anyway, because it was, in a fire, that there's a mysterious letter inside, in like the end papers or whatever. So she kind of is like, And so, yeah. And then I've just got to a part now where someone tried to steal said book. So obviously someone doesn't want her to have that book because of the letter in it. So the plot thickens. So I'm interested to see where it goes from there.
And that's the Bookbinder's Secret. Da, 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 da. What about you, Debbie?
So,
Okay.
okay. So I have started to read a book called, great. Once Upon a River by Diane Zetterfeld. And it's about a small community where there is a public house, a pub located on a river, and that pub is mostly known for storytelling. And what has happened is one night when it's like a stormy night and the townspeople are all gathered at the pub telling stories to one another, this man comes in very gruesomely injured, carrying what they first perceive to be like a doll or a puppet. And he like falls into the room, dropping his load, and the innkeeper's son catches it. And even he is holding for a while before he realizes that it's a child. And
Dear.
yeah, who seems to be dead. And she still is seeming to be dead as far as I've gotten into the book because I've barely started. But from the summary, she's going to come back to life and the man who carried her is going to die. And so they're all, the plot of the story is going to be they're trying to figure out who the heck either of these people are,
Right.
why the man came in gruesomely injured, why the girl who appeared to be dead when they arrived comes back to life. So I don't know. I'll have to tell you where it goes
Another
from there.
mysterious
And what
mystery.
does that have to do with a river?
Well, so far it's just that the pub is located on the river. Like you have to actually cross a bridge. Like the entrance to the door is over a bridge and part of the river. And the once upon a river part is because the inn, that's where everybody goes to tell their stories. And even the nature of how this book is told is sort of old-fashioned fairy tale kind of. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I am also listening to an audiobook called it's Murder by the Book, a Cozy Crime Club Mystery. This says this is book 0, which I'm going to have to do some research into it to see if there are other books that already existed and this is like a prequel.
That would be my guess.
That's what it seems to be saying. But so what has happened so far is that there is this book club where they talk about murder mysteries, particularly murder mysteries of the golden age of mystery, like G.K. Chesterton and Agatha Christie and so on. And they have their club meeting one night and they all say goodbye and they're leaving and they're the last customers to leave and the bookstore manager is locking the door. And as they're walking away, they all hear this scream and they can't get back in because the door is locked and they call for the police. And when the police finally get there, it takes a while to convince the police that they are in earnest and it's not just a prank call. Anyway, the police come and they discover the bookstore manager is in the store and has been attacked. And she's not dead at that point, but she does die. And so then, what has happened now is that actually one of the members of the book club is the prime suspect and has been taken into custody.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't believe that he did it because the things that the inspector is saying are completely not true. It sounds good. And so what's happening right now where I'm reading, like the guy is sitting there going, oh, wow. Even I know I didn't do it. But if I were in a courtroom hearing this tale that she's spinning and I were on the jury, I would be like, okay, yeah, he's guilty. And he knows he's not guilty. Anyway, so the other members of the club are trying to actually solve the mystery because the police have decided that it's one of the members of the book club and it's not him. So it's interesting.
Okay, it's my turn. My turn. So I am going to talk about the really quite wonderful book, A Boy and His Bear, but not now. I'm going to talk about you, gentle listener. Have you ever gotten involved in a book club where you just should have probably said no?
No, I've never been in a book club.
Well, and maybe not book club isn't the right word, where you have a
discussion group?
A discussion group where...
Yes, I have definitely been involved in discussion groups where I've been like, why did I ever say yes to this?
Yeah.
Are you asking why we decided we didn't fit with the group or you just in general?
Yeah. Was it the book that tipped it off? Okay, I'm not really very interested in this book, but I'll go for the sake of...
The person who invited me?
Jerome. We'll just call the person who invited you Jerome.
Well, okay. How about Geraldine?
Okay,
because it would have been a woman who invited me.
Jerome can be a girl name.
Okay.
Can it?
Charlotte can be a girl name.
Mm-hmm. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. And why do you bring this up?
Well, just because out of great affection for a friend, I decided to join this discussion group, and the book was very religious and very political and not...
Yeah, because you love talking about those things.
I was being hopeful that it could be generative and helpful and not divisive.
To, discuss things.
Yeah, and so far it doesn't really look like the whole generative beneficial is going to be a thing. So I don't know.
Bummer.
which just points back to part of why our bookstore is called Middle Ground, because the hope is that we can find a place to meet in the middle and have generative discussions. And sometimes we tend to just avoid divisive topics, but it really is a dream of mine that we could return to a time when we could have generative discussions, even on divisive topics. I don't know. Maybe that's a pipe dream. But
Well, and that comes to the
might be too late
significant
for
day
that.
that we should mention is this month, January 19th, is Martin Luther King Day. And so we are closed for observance of Martin Luther King Day. But through that week, we'll be playing snippets of Martin Luther King's speeches. And
Oh, I didn't know. This is news to me.
it's in the
It's in
newsletter.
the newsletter.
Look at the
I didn't read
newsletter.
it.
and if you want to look at the newsletter too, you can grab one in the shop or you can find it on our website as well. Probably not tonight because we haven't gotten it on the website yet tonight. But
Well,
We're a little behind this new year.
when this podcast drops, you will be able to.
oh, that's true because we're
This isn't a
talking to
live
you from the
broadcast.
past.
We're time traveling. Ooh.
So talking about Winnie the Pooh, and our time's getting away from us already because we haven't talked to each other today, and
Yeah.
it's a good time to talk together. So I'm going to actually start out by reading a little portion that I read just the other night. This is from the House at Pooh Corner from Eeyore Joins the Game. And in this portion, they are playing a game called Pooh Sticks, where our heroes are dropping sticks on one side of the bridge and then watching the sticks race underneath the bridge to the other side and determining whose stick had won. And as they're doing this, they discover Eeyore floating down the river on his back. And in the
Oh, poor
illustrations
Eeyore.
by Shepard, he is just kind of flunk on the top of the water with his legs pointing straight up in the air. And so they have just extricated Eeyore from the water, and Eeyore is explaining how he got in the river. And here's a river book that doesn't have river in the title.
That's what I call bouncing, said Eeyore, taking people by surprise. Very unpleasant habit. I don't mind Tigger being in the forest, he went on, because it's a large forest and there's plenty of room to bounce in it, but I don't see why he should come into my little corner of it and bounce there. It isn't as if there wasn't anything very wonderful about my little corner. Of course, for people who like cold, wet, ugly bits, it is something rather special. But otherwise, it's just a corner, and if anybody feels bouncy... I didn't bounce, I coughed, said Tigger crossly. Bouncy or coffee, it's all the same at the bottom of the river.
So they're just two little bits. But for people who like cold, wet, ugly bits, it is something rather special.
Oh, Eeyore.
And it's all the same at the bottom of the river. You got one, Debbie?
Well, this is another one that I grew up knowing, but not actually realizing that it was an A.A. Milne poem because I heard it on The Muppet Show.
Oh.
Here we go. Halfway down. Halfway down the stairs is a stair where I sit. There isn't any other stair quite like it. I'm not at the bottom. I'm not at the top. So this is the stair where I always stop. Halfway up the stairs isn't up, and it isn't down. It isn't in the nursery. It isn't in the town. And all sorts of funny thoughts run round my head. It isn't really anywhere. It's somewhere else instead.
Nice.
I was trying to find one for Megan to read.
But you do the nice voices.
Megan laughed really hard at the wet, ugly bits.
Eeyore's just...
You know what Eeyore is.
Yeah, you know what Eeyore is.
It literally says that in the story. You know what Eeyore is. It's just Eeyore. Mm-hmm. Well, this is one that was on my record that I remember listening to on the Now We Are Six record. And I thought about it whenever my family was driving in the car and I was watching Drops of Rain on the window. Did you ever do that when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Riding in the car? Okay. So this is called Waiting at the Window. These are my 2 drops of rain waiting on the window pane. I am waiting here to see which the winning one will be. Mm-hmm. Both of them have different names. One is John, and one is James. All the best and all the worst comes from which of them is first. James has just begun to ooze. He's the one I want to lose. John is waiting to begin. He's the one I want to win. James is going slowly on. Something sort of sticks to John. John is moving off at last. James is going pretty fast. John is rushing down the pane. James is going slow again. James has met a sort of smear. John is getting very near. Is he going fast enough? James has found a piece of fluff. John has hurried quickly by. James was talking to a fly. John is there and John has won. Look, I told you. Here's the sun.
Well, we're going to give up there on A.A. Milne, especially since time is still getting away from us. Somewhere, A Boy and a Bear, the book by Giles Brandreth. He talks about, like last episode, we talked about Tolkien and Lewis and their experience of World War I, and then their repeated experience of World War II. I haven't made it as far, like we're not up to World War II with A.A. Milne. I'm not even sure if he survived to World War II. I think he did, but I haven't made it that far in the book. But his experience of World War I was completely different. He was in a different literary circle than Lewis and Tolkien. And last time I said Orson Welles, it was H.G. Wells, because I always manage to say the wrong name when I'm talking about that. But Orson Welles was a friend to Milne's father, and Milne and his brother did a bunch of writing in light verse. And in fact, before that, everybody had their hopes on Milne to be a great mathematician and to earn his fame that way. And when he became involved with light verse and writing poetry and then writing humorous bits for Punch magazine, which at that point, that was like being a rock star. He got some pieces in Punch, he did some things, and then he got sent to World War I, and he was a signal operator, and he was not supposed to see any time at the actual front, but he did actually spend some time in the trenches. But after a relatively brief stint in what would have been hellish conditions, he managed to get trench fever and then was sent back from the front and spent pretty much the duration of the war actually writing plays. And he was also supposed to be a propagandist for the British military. But he actually talked about the fact that, you know, he had a kind of a pleasant war, which compared to what you see with Lewis and Tolkien, a very, very different set of conditions. And he was, for a time, until Winnie the Pooh became the thing, he was quite a playwright, had lots of different screenplays presented, and in fact, some of them still read quite well today. And there's a great deal about kind of who he was and how he was as a person that was, again, very, very different from C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, who were, especially in their time during World War II, very motivated in the fight against Nazism and in the fight against what they deemed the evils that were overtaking their world and specifically their country. Milne was really kind of almost mercenary by comparison. He was concerned with his personal fame, and there's a lot of tragedy in the book. And there is the author in a number of places interviews Christopher Robin to talk about his relationship with his father and how that was eventually healed. But the thing that actually kind of broke it was Milne had written a poem about Christopher Robin Says His Prayers. It was made into a children's record, and this kind of soppy woman sang the poem, and so that became Christopher Robin's serenade by the schoolboys everywhere he went.
Kid.
And so he felt like his whole life was spent in ridicule for, you know, him being Christopher Robin and being childish and being, you know, all the things that we now love in Christopher Robin. And it took, I think, most of Christopher Robin's life to forgive his father, which kind of brings in, you know, there are some very melancholy pieces in different bits of A.A. Milne's work, especially about Christopher Robin growing up.
Mm-hmm.
When he did grow up, though, do you know what he did?
No.
He and his wife opened a bookstore.
Wow.
Did they really?
The Harbor Bookshop in Dartmouth, Devon. Opened in 1951 with his wife Leslie, and he ran it until his retirement in 1983. So for 32 years, he was a bookstore owner.
Wow. I don't even know what to say.
I mean, it makes sense to me.
It's great life.
And for any of these books, you can find them either on Bookshop.org or on our site. Or if you are in Emporia, just give us a call and we will make sure that we have them in stock. Because like the ones I talked about last week, they're already gone and back on order again. So yeah, one important thing, when you're hearing this, Sunday, January 17th, we're going to be having A.D. Childers in the store, and she is a local author, a mystery and psychological thriller author, and she will be presenting on her 2 books, Switchback, and the other one is A History of Madness. So come in and get your autographed copy of her book, and also just hear what it's like to be a mystery and psychological thriller author.
I think that sounds creepy. Okay. I have to say, of all the authors, I really admire mystery authors the most because they have to create a plausible plot with enough twisty, windy things to lead the reader astray. And yeah, I just think it must take a brilliant mind to write a good mystery.
Probably. I don't know. I'm not a writer. I like to read the books, but I'm not going to write them.
And so we're getting to the place where we are closing up for this week. And for next week's podcast, it's going to be a little bit odd because we're going to go a throwback. We have a number of different author events that we did record when they were in the store. So we have the podcast from Basta Carbo, where Debbie talked with Basta Carbo about her book. And what was the
Mom
name?
and Pop Hardware Shop.
About her growing up
in McPherson, Kansas. And her parents, her mom and her dad were hardware store owners, but it was not the same store. They had 2 separate hardware stores in the same town, and she worked in both of them.
Competing hardware stores.
Well, not strictly speaking, because they had a different sort of inventory and a different sort of clientele, but yeah.
And then the other one that we had, it wasn't Tiffany Cloran. Lillian West, or...
who I talked with her a bit about being a mystery writer and the process of how she did that. And she talked, I won't say any more because if we do that podcast, you can listen and hear what she said.
Yeah. And so for the next couple weeks, we're going to be thinking about what we should say for the next couple weeks. So if you have any great ideas, or
if you have a book you'd like us to read or talk about,
give us a recommendation.
Or if you just want to say, hi, how you doing? You can contact us at admin@middlegroundbooks.com or click on the website. We also have phone number information and all that stuff there as well. So until next time,
we'll meet you in the middle. Hey, I'm Megan from Middle Ground Books. Thanks for listening to Middle Ground Books After Hours with me, Deborah, and Lance. If you're in Emporia, stop in and see us at 606 Commercial Street. Browse books and other fun stuff, sip some tea, and just enjoy the bookshop vibes. Middle Ground Books After Hours is produced and remotely engineered by Cosmic Atom Sound Studios, producing the vision and making it sound. Cosmic Atom Sound Studios. Let's come together and build something new. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, we'll meet you in the middle. So you're continuing your river theme into 2026?
I mean, there still are
lots of river books
that I haven't read. This one is...
Well, and then you can break out to other bodies of water, like
I don't think I'll
ponds.
ever get through the rivers before I die. Like, literally, they keep releasing...
I mean, there's books with ocean in the title,
Creek.
too.
But I'm saying I can't branch into those bodies of water because there continue to be so many river books. I think that rivers are a huge literary metaphorical device. And
Maybe
so
you
there's
should have
going to
started
continue
smaller.
to be...
Maybe you should have started like with puddle, and then work your way up to
Just
like
a small pond.
creek, and then. So what about your new book?
Okay, as I said, it's called Once Upon a River